Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval. Today we'll be reviewing the Tier 5 British Tech Tree carrier, Eagle. Now, this ship doesn't really stand out to me as a strong carrier, but I might not have enough games in her to make that final assumption. She will be going up against other carriers at this tier, such as Bogue, Shoho, and Zuiho, all of which have their pluses and minuses, but just mentally thinking about it, this actually might be the strongest tier 5 carrier. We will have to make our assumption on that after our videos today. So we have two aircraft layouts for this ship, so we will have two videos on her, one today, one tomorrow. But before we do that, we will just be reviewing the ship itself. So we have 38,900 health. We have 19% torpedo damage resistance, which is not a lot, but at least it's something. We have up to 4 inches of armor maximum, that being on the belt. Though if you look closely, it looks like she has a slightly armored deck. It's hard to tell. It's just slightly orangish, which indicates thicker armor. Even if she does, though, it doesn't look like it's very much, if anything at all. Moving on, we have 9 secondary gun turrets. We have quite a few sticking out on the side, about 3 on each side, and then we have 3 in the stern as well, as you can see. None directly forward, but we do have these 2 here that can kind of aim slightly forward. So also possible good brawling ship. I don't really remember actually brawling with this carrier though. The ships at this tier are just a little bit above the brawling stage. You're at tier 5, so you have strong AA ships, such as Congo and New York's when fully upgraded. You can also go against Koenigs, which are pretty strong. And then you have cruisers such as Leander and the occasional Omaha as well, maybe. So yeah, a lot of stronger AA ships at this tier. AA-wise, we have pretty decent range. The stats themselves, or the damages combined, are actually pretty decent. What we have at least maybe over 100 or so DPS. Yeah, it looks like that. So that's pretty good for a tier 5 carrier. With 26 AA guns. We have 31 aircraft in our hangar, which is upgraded from 25 for the first layout. So definitely recommend using the second layout. And then speed, we have 24 knots. Though she's not exactly fast, she's at least faster than Bogue, I would think. Alright, so we have upgraded aircraft. Let's see which ones or what the upgrades are for each of these. So for fighters, we have pluses for everything. Better health, better speed, better ammo, better kill efficiency. Definitely go for fighters. Torpedo bombers also have all bonuses. And then dive bombers are all bonuses except you lose a little speed, but it's not much, and honestly, you can just take that and run. We have 2 layouts that we can equip. We have one that we'll be going over with today. One squadron of 5 torpedo bombers, dive bombers, and fighters. And then we have a second layout which has 4 fighters, 5 torpedo bombers, and then 2 squadrons of 4 dive bombers. What is the fire chance? 122%. So it looks like we have a pretty balanced layout and then a more strike layout. This is actually the same kind of setup that Hermes has in her second layout with the 555. So if you are familiar with that one, or you haven't played a few games in that, this should be just a walk in the park. So without further ado, let's toss into a game and see how we can do today. Alright, and here we have ourselves a game. Now this is actually a pretty strong battleship game, so we have the ability to get a lot of damage. We'll see if we actually can. Before that, I do want to let you know I have adjusted the sound a little bit more. I tried doing that for yesterday's video and it ended up just being silent. So I brought it up a little bit, so hopefully we'll be actually able to hear sounds. But we'll see what we can do. Alright, so we're just going to bring out all our aircraft. I do have health buffs and speed buffs applied at this time, so keep that in mind. And what ships do we have today? We have one carrier. We have a Congo, which has strong AA roll. Stock, she does not. Iron Duke, New York, Koenig, Britannia, and Leander. So honestly, I think the strongest AA ship other than the carrier is going to be the cruiser. And the Koenig is a possibility of having strong AA as well. So definitely not any secondary duels with any of the battleships, if I can help it. The only things I would consider doing that was the carrier, the vehicles, and the cruiser, because my guns will possibly have the ability to actually do damage to it. But I don't really want to be that close to a Leander anyways. So we'll see what we can do. So let's bring out, or nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Go there, and then aircraft go over here. So New Yorks are going to be fun. The Britannia is going to be fun. The Koenigs and the Congos, and to an extent the Iron Dukes, are relatively fast for ships, especially the Congo. So it might be harder for us to drop them, but we'll see. Looks like all of our aircraft have pretty slow speeds except the fighters. Looks like the slowest thing we have are torpedo bombers. Alright, so what do we have on this side? We have a Koenig and a Britannia. There's the Iron Duke. There's something in sea. That's probably the cruiser. Leander's pretty fast. I think 32 knots, maybe? Something around that. Alright, you should be seeing a lot more battleships. I'm surprised I'm only seeing 3. Yeah, there's the Leander. Alright, so fighters are going to go over here. I'm going to split up my aircraft now. And then try and get some damage. I'm going to try and... Well, let's go after the Iron Duke with torpedo bombers. They're pretty widespread for a torpedo drop, but I don't mind. Alright, let's go after these torpedo bombers with our fighters, or at least try to. It looks like our fighters are engaging the other fighters. Let's try and dive bomb this Leander. If we can get... Actually, abort. Nope, too late. Anyways, we missed that. Oh well. Fighters, we were able to take down all of them. We only lost a couple aircraft. And we were able to keep most of our ammo as well. So let's see if we can take down some of these strike aircraft in the meantime. Though Leander is still working our aircraft over. Leander has the strongest AA of any cruiser this tier, which is really surprising. And there she goes. Awesome. But yeah, strong AA cruiser. It's pretty interesting. Alright, so there's more fighters coming out. Looks like that's all they have. So for spares, we have 5 spare fighters, 5 spare torpedo bombers, and 6 spare dive bombers. Okay, our aircraft are returning. It's a pretty slow ship. I know she's only going 24 knots base speed, but still. At least it's not Bogue. Alright, so let's bring back our aircraft. We just lost our fighters, but we were able to shoot down 7 aircraft. She has 30-something aircraft. I already forgot. But even if it's 30, that's almost a third of the aircraft gone from that carrier. So that'll definitely help us. Let's just bring everything out. And let's start moving in towards D so we can cap it. Since it's 1 cap versus 1 cap. Though we are winning the ship's points right now. I'm trying to focus more on points and carriers because I feel like I lose quite a few games due to points and carriers because I have a hard time contesting caps. Or at least just contesting any kind of cap over takeover or whatever. So yeah, I'm trying to focus a little bit more on that, and it seems to be working okay. Though we've had a couple of games where it's been really close calls. And I'm sure you've seen those. Alright, so let's see what we can do against this Congo, because everything else over there is pretty close together, which means concentrated AA defense, which does not really help me at all. Though it might be best to go after the Koenig. Alright, so the Congo is turning. Oh, but she's almost down. So maybe, yep, we'll go after the Koenig here because I think my team can finish her off. Really widespread torpedoes on the Koenig. Well, I think that is the narrow spread, unfortunately. So it's going to be hard to get a lot of hits with your torpedoes. So maybe 2 maximum. And let's give some dive bomber attention to this Koenig as well. 5 bomb hits, no fires. Let's see, what are our fighters doing? I'm going to finish off the carrier fighters and then work on these dive bombers. So I think that should be it for fighters from this carrier. We should have no more to engage. And then we're really finishing off these dive bombers. Wow, they're going down really quick. I doubt we can catch these torpedo bombers before they get back to the carrier. So we'll just sit here and wait for right now. See where our carrier is. We're pretty okay. Looks like Britannia's and the New York are the next wave of battleships, since the Congo and the Koenig are about to go down. So we can bring our strike aircraft back out. We have a few more dive bombers to shoot down. We've shot down about half of the enemy carrier's aircraft. We've capped the base. Now it's 2v1. And we have a lead in ships as well. Let's see, are there any torpedo bombers? There should be some coming out soon, so we'll be ready for those. Alright, where are our torpedo bombers? Let's go after these Britannias as we engage these torpedo bombers. Ooh, nice spread. Interesting the way that's working right there. Alright, let's dive bomb the New York. Two fires this time, awesome. And we got a couple torpedo hits on the Britannia. We shot down all the torpedo bombers, so let's see if anything... Oh, yep, we have one more to shoot down. There goes the New York. There it goes, and that should finish up all carrier aircraft. So we shot down all fighters, all dive bombers, and all torpedo bombers that we could. So let's bring our strike aircraft back out once we're ready. So that carrier is practically worthless right now, so I don't have to worry about her. We're going to cap, or at least contest C here in a moment. I kind of want to go this way. We'll bring our dive bombers back out as well. We're going to focus on the battleships and just leave the carrier alone for right now. She's not a threat, and I don't need to waste my aircraft on a ship that can't do anything to influence the game. However, the battleships can. Alright, so let's go after this one. I think she might be reversing. Is that what I see? Yeah, it looks like it, yeah. So a pretty close in drop on this Britannia. Should land some good torpedo hits. There we go. I was actually kind of close for comfort. I am going to keep this carrier spotted though. Or at least try to. Alright, that wasn't the best drop, but we still got a fire. We cap the base. Torpedo bombers are almost ready. We still have a few spares. No more spare fighters, and still have an entire squadron of dive bombers in reserve. Let's keep the carrier spotted. Torpedo bombers are coming out. Let's see if we can finish off this Baratagna. Not enough lead for the rear torpedoes, but we're still going to land at least 3. That's almost all she needed. I think my team can finish her up, so let's now go engage this carrier. Our secondaries are going to open up. And we got a little bit of secondary damage. Awesome. Alright, so let's bring out our strike aircraft again. I can kind of circle my dive bombers with my fighters because I feel like my dive bombers are going to do a lot of damage here. Yeah, so the torpedo bombers from this carrier, though they may be powerful, the size of the drop is so large that you're not going to land more than a couple torpedoes at a time. So dive bombers are definitely going to be your friend, just like we had for the American carriers. Alright, there we go for our drop. 2 fires. I like it. Let's bring our torpedo bombers in. Maybe something like that. The arming distance on the British torpedo bombers is really, really long. So you really do have to drop all the way back here. And we should get at least 3 torpedo hits, I would think. Yep, there we go. Keep her spotted. It looks like New York is barely hanging on by a thread. Maybe we got a permanent flooding on her. I didn't actually pay attention. Let's see, is she burning? No, she repaired everything. Alright, but dive bombers are ready again, so let's bring those back out. Let's put our fighters around the dive bombers. Though I don't think we're going to need them. I think my team will be able to finish her off before we have a chance to attack. But maybe not. Alright, so here's the final drop. We will get this kill, actually. Awesome. Alright, so let's see how we did. That was actually a pretty okay battle. We had a kind of rough start, but I think we more than made up for it mid and late game. Alright, so we had 127,000 damage, 2 ships sunk, 15 torpedo hits, 20 bomb hits, 25 aircraft shot down, 6 fires, 4 floodings, 2 capped bases, and 2 secondary hits for 5,700 base XP. We had 19,000 damage in fires, just over 500 damage in secondaries. Armor piercing, interesting. That might explain why we're getting so much damage from our secondaries. I wonder if that's for the entire British carrier line. I'll have to check that out. Torpedoes did 90,000 damage, and bombs did 16,000 damage. So we actually had more damage from the fires than from the bombs themselves. As you can see here, here's the damages. Really good against battleships. You can farm a lot of damage. And against carriers, really good too. Cruisers, if you can land your hits pretty good, I would recommend dive bombers for that, and secondaries if you really wanted to. These secondaries can definitely finish up some low HP ships. And destroyers, I don't know what to tell you. Do your best. I mean, if you're really good at attacking destroyers with carriers, all the good points to you, because that's not something I can do. Um, but yeah, so that's the first review on Eagle. If you like the video, make sure you like and subscribe, and join me tomorrow while we go over the second aircraft layout. So again, thank you and take care.